The racing action started with a 6-lap trophy dash. Off the start, the 21 of Ryan Herbert led off the field with Justin Caden in the 7 running in second. Then came the number 22 of Brandon Herbert. He moved into the 3rd place spot and then passed Justin Caden for the 2nd place spot. But at the end of the day, it would be Ryan Herbert in the 21 taking home the checkered flag, winning the first race of the night. The next race was our CocaCola Street Stock race. It was the first of 2 races of the night. Off the start, Charles Davis took the lead, but he was black flagged for jumping the start, so he had to take his car to the pits and then come back out on the racetrack. Back up front, the number 5 of J.C. Kleckler passed Brian Hutchinson in the 38 for 2nd place. Meanwhile, Charles Davis was working his way up through the field, rebounding from his black flag. Eventually, he got up to the number 33 of Terry Grimes. But then watch as they go into turn 1. He's right there on him. He's looking to make a pass. But then there's contact, and around goes Terry Grimes in the 33. That would bring out the first caution. And because of that, Charles Davis was parked for the rest of the race. Tough night for Charles Davis. We then went back green flag racing with Trey Grimes and J.C. Kleckler on the front row. But as we enter turn number 1, there's contact between Brian Hutchinson and J.C. Kleckler, and around he goes. We went back green flag racing with Trey Grimes still out in front. Will Smith and Blake Wilson battled for the 2nd place spot, and Will Smith got it. Then in turn number 1, Terry Grimes was trying to hold on to his 3rd place spot, but he loses it and he's able to save it. Good driving by Terry Grimes. Meanwhile, back up front, the number 7 of Will Smith had a battle with J.C. Kleckler for the 2nd place spot, and J.C. Kleckler got it. But at the end of the day, it would be Trey Grimes taking home the checkered flag, winning his first race of his career. Well done, Trey. Before we got started with our next big race, we had a couple of kids' big wheel races. The special guest flagman for 2 of them was the driver of the 22, Brandon Herbert. And seeing these kids on these big wheel bikes was definitely a fun sight to see. You could definitely tell that they were having a fun time, and it was truly a night that they would not forget for as long as they lived. After we were done with the kids' big wheel races, a couple of the pro late model drivers decided to give these tricycles a try. The first race was between Ryan and Brandon Herbert. Brandon Herbert was in firm control of his lead, and Ryan Herbert was having a little trouble getting that tricycle to work. And to make it even more exciting, they each wore helmets during this race. Ryan tried to come back, but it was all Brandon Herbert as he took the checkered flag, and Ryan would slide it on in past the start-finish line. Then it was time for the 2 McCallum boys to give it a shot. Jordan McCallum started to lead, but he spun out going into the first turn, and that was the opening that Kyle McCallum needed. Jordan would try to come on back to take the lead, but it wouldn't be enough. He would lose control again, and Kyle McCallum would go on to take the checkered. Definitely an unbelievable night for these 2. The Show Me the Money race did not disappoint. Off the start, the number 12 of Joe Graff Jr. led off the field, but it wouldn't be too long before the 112 of Augie Grill was able to take the lead from him. But one man that was making a big move on the field was the 18 of Casey Roderick, who started on the rear of the field. He worked his way past several cars and was working his way up into the top 5. But another man that was working his way on the field was the number 24 of Christopher Tullis. He also had to start at the rear of the field. Casey Roderick passed the 13 of Bill Bethay, and then he passed the number 30 of Bobby Knox Jr. He had worked his way into the top 5, and then he passed Joe Graff Jr. for the 2nd place spot. Then we had our first caution of the night when the number 7 of Justin Caden got loose coming off turn 4, and around he went. We went back green flag racing with Casey Roderick and Augie Grill on the front row. Casey Roderick was trying to hold it in, but Augie Grill was able to take the lead from him. But Casey was not giving up so easily. He was trying everything he could to get around Augie Grill for the lead. Then we had another caution come out when the 54 of Matt Craig spun out and hit the wall. We then went back green flag racing, and once again, Augie Grill continued to lead the 18 of Casey Roderick. Then around went the 21 of Jason Furrow, bringing out the next caution. On the next restart, Augie Grill continued to lead the 18 of Casey Roderick. And also, the 24 of Christopher Tullis was on the inside of Bill Bethay. He was doing everything he could to make the pass from him. You can see contact is made, but Christopher Tullis makes the pass on Bill Bethay to move up into fourth. Then we had the next caution come out, riding on board with Ty Roberts. There's contact made between him and the 22 of Brandon Herbert, and that ended up bringing the next caution out. We then went back green flag racing with Augie Grill and Casey Roderick on the front row again. And watch right here, the 21 of Ryan Herbert, around he goes, and Ty Roberts in the 50 gets a piece of it too. Watching this replay on board with Ty Roberts, here is what he sees, and there is just nothing for him to do but go right into Ryan Herbert. We then went back green flag racing, and Augie Grill and Casey Roderick continued to battle it out for the lead. Casey Roderick was doing everything he could to get around him, but Augie Grill had an answer for him. Then we had a caution come out when the 4 of Kyle McCallum stopped on the track. Now watch this next restart. Augie Grill and Casey Roderick are side by side, and Bobby Knox Jr. dives it on in there. And right here, Bobby Knox Jr. takes the second place spot, but Casey Roderick is able to get the second place spot back. Then we had a battle between Perry Bettino and Josh Adkins, and coming off turn 4, contact is made, and around goes Josh Adkins. Then we went back green flag racing with both Augie Grill and Casey Roderick on the front row. And then Bobby Knox Jr. also had his hands full with the 24 of Christopher Tullis. They continued to battle side by side, but Bobby Knox Jr. was able to get the advantage. Then a few laps later, Casey Roderick is on the inside of Augie Grill. Contact is made, and whoa! Around goes Augie Grill in the 112. We went back green flag racing with Bobby Knox Jr. and Casey Roderick on the front row. But it wouldn't be too long before we got the next caution when around again goes Jason Furrow in the 21. On the restart, Bobby Knox Jr. and Casey Roderick were battling side by side for the lead. Then the 22 of Brandon Herbert spun out, bringing out the next caution. We restarted again with both Bobby Knox Jr. and Casey Roderick. And then comes the big one. Casey Roderick is leading the race, and coming into the front straightaway, a huge crash, including the 12 of Joe Graff Jr., Josh Atkins in the 1, and the 11 of Jordan McCallum. Luckily, everybody was okay, but Kyle McCallum was not too happy with Josh Atkins with how he presented himself out there on the track. So tensions were definitely high after that crash. We restarted with Casey Roderick and Christopher Tullis on the front row with a green-white checkered restart. Bobby Knox Jr. was black flagged for jumping the restart, so he had to start at the rear. So then came the white flag, and watch this. Casey Roderick is leading the race. Christopher Tullis is running in second. Casey's got this win in the bag. Meanwhile, the 22 of Riley Thornton and the 51 of Perry Bettino are battling for the third place spot. Here we come to the start-finish line. Casey Roderick wins, Christopher Tullis second, and by a matter of inches, the 22 of Riley Thornton edges out Perry Bettino. Watching on this replay, look at how close this finish is. By a matter of inches, Riley Thornton finishes in third. Wow! The final race of the night was the second Coca-Cola Street Stock race. Off the start, the 33 of Terry Grimes led off the field. But then the number 6 of Charles Davis came charging up through the field. He worked his way into third, and watch this, going to turn 1, there's contact between him and Trey Grimes, and Trey Grimes refuses to let Charles Davis by him. He's doing everything he can to block him. Then going into turn number 3, Trey passes Terry Grimes, and he's able to take the lead. He brings Charles Davis along with him. But then a few laps later, Charles Davis would pass Trey Grimes for the lead. Then the number 5 of Travis Kleckler passed Will Smith in the 7. At the end of the day, Charles Davis would take home the checkered flag, ending off an unbelievable night at Montgomery Motor Speedway.